We are back here on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. My esteemed guests today are state representatives Jake Wheatley and Ed Gainey. And gentlemen, we talked about the federal money, and I do want to talk a little bit later about the divisions in Washington, excuse me, and how they kind of trickle down to Pennsylvania. But I want to just pick up now in terms of money and what money is available. There was CARES money at one time available. Have we figured out, is that money still available for families to help fill in some of the gaps here in Pennsylvania?
Well, one thing I like to start off with, Lynn, is I want to recognize our federal partners, especially Congressman Mike Doyle, for their leadership. Back when this first jumped off, I think back in April or May, somewhere around there, they came out with a couple of federal packages. The state of Pennsylvania got over $3 billion worth of support to try to do some immediate emergency stuff. We spent about 2.2 billion of that over $3 billion pot, but we kept 1.3 billion. When I say we, it was the decision early on to spend the majority of it out front, and then to try to see what additional federal resources will come later, and maybe we could use some of it for budgetary support. Mm-hmm. But when we saw that the feds weren't going to give additional before the end of the year, many of us on the Democratic side wanted to use that money to put back into our communities to help support some of the work of some of the social service agencies, some of the nonprofits, some of the workers that are doing hazardous play. So 1.3 billion was left, but in this last budget decision, the majority party, the Republicans, decided to use that 1.3 to balance our budget. So it's no longer available.
So then, Ed, what does that mean for then the gap that would have existed in the communities? That gap still exists, and there's no way to fill that gap.
Yeah, that's why, we should have used it for the community. I mean, you got groups out here that's struggling. 1.3 billion would have went far in order to undergird a lot of these organizations, a lot of these businesses. Like in the African-American community, Lynn, like Jake and I, that our number one drivers is bars. And so you got a lot of people in our community that's saying, hey, look, we're shutting down, we're playing by the rules, we're doing all we're supposed to do, but we can't make payroll, we can't do X, Y, and Z. There's a lot that we can't do, and they drive the economy. The small businesses in our neighborhood, they help us drive the economy, and they're not there. No, I mean, it's not there. We haven't, the 1.3, but it went a long way, particularly during this holiday season. Particularly to say, listen, you guys been playing fair by the rules. You've been doing what you said you're going to do. We want to make sure that we can, that we spread a little bit of this holiday spirit and make sure that you're okay. But we didn't. We used it to balance the budget. And we can understand that too, saying, hey, well, you got a major budget that you have to balance. But there was some other things that could have been discussed. I just think that the money from an investment side in regards to undergirding small businesses and making sure that we was okay from social service agencies, I think there was just another way we could have spent the 1.3 that would have benefited the communities in order to, shore up some of the shortfalls that they're going to have. And I think it was an opportunity missed.
So along those lines, then, Pennsylvania has certainly been a focal point in the residual or the fallout from the presidential race. And we've seen several lawsuits. We've seen them come, we've seen them go, if you will. How does that affect us going forward? Because there's a lot of division nationally. And as a result, when we look at what's happened in the state of Pennsylvania, there's got to be some residual animosity in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, I'll take it. For me, I see politics different than legislating, even though some people have made it the same. We can have our political differences. I don't have any animosities for any of those Republicans who have tried to move forth on what they thought was the best thing for their constituencies and their perspective. And that's all in the political world. I was always taught that when we came into the Capitol Dome, our main mission then was to try to do what's best for all of Pennsylvania. We're one Pennsylvania, we're one Commonwealth. And I'm still committed to that behavior. I know that there are some people on the other side who are committed to that behavior. The real, task that we have before us is in this pandemic, in this moment right now, they're a great opportunity. And how will we use our leadership abilities and positions to help move Pennsylvanians to the better position? And they don't care about what label we have. They don't care about Democrats or Republicans. We saw that with the election being so close in Pennsylvania. We have many of people in Pennsylvania who both are Republicans and Democrats, but they expect their government to run and function. And so I go to Harrisburg this year committed to coming to any table and trying to work as best I can with the people who want to move Pennsylvania forward.
Yeah, I think that you can't change the mind of some people. All the lawsuits that happen, power is power, and people always are going to fight for their interests when it comes to keeping power. But I think the people have spoken. I mean, Donald Trump got 74 million votes. He did better in 2020 than he did in 2016, and he still lost. Bottom line, he still lost. And I think one of the greatest things that came out of this election, and I give a lot of credit, a whole lot of credit to Jake Wheatley and DeWitt Walton, One Hood, APA. They really utilized this whole the legislation that we passed for early voting to really do something in the community, and the reward was great. They can no longer say that the African-American community don't vote. The numbers don't lie. We showed up in record numbers. We showed up and showed out. We do what we do. And I think that early voting has really changed the game. So for all of us that played a part in making that happen, the results speak for themselves. So we can continue to have the lawsuits until Donald Trump leave office. At the end of the day, the people have spoken. No one is going to go back on what the people have said, and we have to go forward and legislate together. We have too many serious issues to allow the vice of politics to divide us in the legislature of the House so that we don't get nothing done for the people. We must get something done from the people. So we need to put this behind us and get on with the people's work.
We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back. We have a lot more to talk about today on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. Don't go away.